Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Hello and welcome to Let's Sip and Talk with Freema. Can y'all hear me? Because I heard a disconnect. I'm not sure. So I'm hoping you guys can hear me pretty good. Anywho, today is Sunday. Let me know if you can. Today's Sunday. We did the show a little later in the evening today, but I hope you guys tune in. We actually have a first on the show, a comedian. Happy Sunday, Shard. Thanks for tuning in. We have a comedian on today, Jeremiah, and I'm not going to mess up his last name, but I'm going to try it anyway because he told me, but I'm not going to do it. Anywho, we'll let him tell us how to pronounce his last name. Without further ado, let's bring him on. I'm ready for some laughs to see how he gets started and what made him decide to be a comedian. Where did that come from? Everybody can't be a comedian. So without further ado, Jeremiah.
What is up, everybody? This is Jeremiah. And why is Jeremiah in a good mood? Because Jeremiah is having his brand new YouTube debut tonight. And when he says his brand new YouTube that's debuting tonight, he means November 5th, 2019 is his first YouTube, the first video from the brand new channel, which has yet to be named. It's probably not going to be named by the end of the night, but we'll go back to all that shit later. This is all going to be one take. No editing, one and done, one take hove. So who do I need to introduce you to? First off, probably me. Am I going to do that today? Absolutely not. I'm just going to let you bask in my amazing charm and personality. But who you do need to meet is my amazing co-host, Mr. Google Home. Google Home! Hey, Google. Give me a round of applause, please.
Let's get round of applause.
Try asking for some applause.
Yeah, we're still working out the kinks. But he's going to be my straight man. I'm going to be your straighter man. I'm not 100% sure what the main guy, whatever. So let's try that again because we've been practicing.
Try asking for some applause.
Can I have some applause? I was unplanned. Good. That was.
Can y'all hear me, Jeremiah?
Still going. That was almost obnoxious.
I can't hear
Thank you, Google.
Oh, God.
You know who I think is doing a great job?
All right, so I'm going to leave the studio and then I'm going to come back because there's some type of disconnect.
Son of a bitch. That's my co-host right there, Mr. Google Assistant, Mr. Google Home. Hey, Google, tell me a joke. This is going to be good. This is, the riff. Here we go.
What does a nosy pepper do?
Tell me,
It
bitch.
gets jalapeno business.
You son of a bitch. You. Hey, Google. How you doing, nigga?
Now that we're talking. I'm over the moon.
I was I've asked it that question before and it doesn't normally answer, but it normally has a white voice, as you can hear. The band is apparently John Legend, so that okay. Well, I was gonna do these without any structure whatsoever, but maybe until we work the kinks out, maybe we should start working on that. But in the meantime, what you can do for me so that I can continue making these, I have no idea what the format is or how I'm gonna do it, but what would be great is if you could like, share, subscribe. I don't know this, schematics of YouTube yet, but apparently everybody fucking says that. But what you can do, if you have any great ideas, feel free to inbox me on my Facebook, Jeremiah's Work in Progress, or my Instagram, Comedy Club Worldwide. Add me on Snapchat. I have no idea how to edit, so I'm pointing down here, which in the future is where I'll probably start putting all of my extra shit. But again, I don't even know how I'm going to do that because I don't want to edit any of this. So maybe some of that stuff will be in the links or some of the other cool stuff that they say. I digress. What you can do is you can comment, you can say whatever the hell you want, maybe give me ideas of stuff that you want to hear my opinion about. If you don't want to hear my opinion, don't say shit, and I'll just keep doing this. I don't know. But in the meantime, thank you for watching this long, and I will see you guys next time.
All right. Sorry about the difficulties. I do apologize.
All good.
You today.
I'm great. How about you?
I'm doing good. I know you told me how to pronounce your last name, but clearly, I couldn't do it. So if you want to tell us how to pronounce it.
I'm Chinegwu.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Jeremiah Chinegwu, thanks for coming on Let's Sip and Talk with Freema, where people just share their story, their journey, and we try to motivate each other. That because I feel we learn from each other.
Right.
So if you don't mind, tell us a little about yourself and how you got started being a comedian.
I started kind of late compared to most people. I didn't start till I was like 26, 27, kind of in that range. I always wanted to do it. I was living in DC at the time. It was a club out there, and I thought I was just going up for an open mic. I had a friend sign me up for an open mic, which is like how everybody starts. It's the worst way to start, but it's what everybody does. But I tried it, and it ended up being a competition, not an actual open mic. And I did really well, and the club asked me back a few times, and I just kind of kept with it until they started giving me money. And yeah.
So you knew you were going on that night, correct?
Yes.
You already have, okay, because I was about to say, so you just got jokes today. You don't.
I mean, I think a lot of it because I didn't know any better. Some of it was just I planned for it a little bit, but it was probably really bad. I don't have any recordings of it, but I'm assuming it was really bad. But I won, so I think the other people that night were just way worse. Yeah.
So how do you plan for a show? What does that look for you?
Writing. A lot of it's just memorizing. Kind of memorizing. I don't like to commit anything to memory too much. I write my own jokes. I write pretty often, but you can't really mess up your jokes because you write them. So, a lot of it's just having a general idea of what it is you want to talk about and just going up there and saying it.
The Investor Show, thanks for tuning in. He said, why is open mic the worst way to start?
Oh, open mic's not the worst way to start. The worst way to start is to go up there. I think I mentioned just kind of stating observations. When you start out, you kind of have to be real almost bookish about it. You have to know exactly what you're going to say because you don't really have your voice yet. And until you get that, you don't want to just riff and say whatever comes to mind because you're nervous. You've never been up there before. It's best not to talk when you're too nervous, I find.
Got you. Might say the wrong things or upset the crowd or something.
Very quickly. I've seen it go really bad for a lot of people.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let me ask you, Jeremiah, how do you know, and I know this is probably a question, but how do you know you're funny? Like, do you have to go in front of your friends first? Like, how do you know your jokes are going to be like a hit?
You don't. you don't, honestly. You can really only gauge it off how much people react. I try not to try stuff out on friends just because I feel like I'm around comedians a lot and it's the most annoying thing to hear them run material by you. So I try not to do that to people. I can only assume I'm funny because people keep asking me to come back and perform. So, I mean, yeah, you don't really have a gauge. Everybody thinks they're funny, but everybody's not.
So were you the type that made people laugh regardless? Like you were the one out of all of your friends that always had something funny to say, always joking around, or this wasn't you? This is just something that you decided to do.
I joke around a lot, just in general. It's kind of my tension breaker, I think, just like, and it's kind of my default. You know, if I can find something funny to kind of just keep things loose, it's typically what I kind of fall into. And it just hasn't changed since I was younger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You the one that would pick on the crowd? You know, some comedians will or oh, excuse me.
Oh, it's all good. No, I won't interact with the crowd unless like I'll give them a couple. Like everybody wants to be a part of, not everybody, but a lot of people want to be a part of the show, and they kind of get that tunnel vision, like this person's performing just for me. And if it starts, if somebody does something that catches my attention or throws me off, I'll kind of, pick at them a little bit. Just how severe I'm going to be about it is depending on how they react to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So do comedians normally have a goal as far as how long they're going to be doing this, or do you see yourself doing this in the next 5-10 years, or you just going to do it until eternity?
I can't speak for anybody else. Everybody's got different end games, I suppose. Some people are content with just being a headliner at their local club and kind of staying there and building up like a homegrown fan base and never leaving. Some people want to tour and get into acting, and I'm trying to get as much out of it as I can. So
you want to do the touring, the acting, you want it all.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Okay. So where are you located now without giving too much information? But if someone wanted to catch one of your shows, doing any shows anywhere that someone that may be watching in your area could
all around Colorado. I'm in Denver, Colorado Springs pretty often, Fort Collins, head up to Cheyenne, Wyoming every once in a while, just everywhere in between. Texas, California, but primarily out of Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you? You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, and I don't know if people actually do this, but have you ever been booed, or have you ever got disrespect from the audience?
I've had audiences not like me. I think every comedian has. Boot. I think when I was living in North Carolina, I did a joke that got like a really harsh boo response, and it was really early of like 30 minutes that I had to do, so I was just kind of digging myself out of a hole for a little bit. It eventually, and the joke, I can't remember the joke off the top of my head. It was somebody after the show said that they found it sexist, and I think I had commented that in America, women get paid less than men. Wasn't saying that's a good thing, wasn't agreeing with it. I mentioned it, and I got booed, and you can kind of backtrack or double down, and I chose to double down. So I just go, do you not know? And then they still kept booing. I said, well, that's, if you don't know, that's why it's happening. And it just...
So basically, if that happens, you still have to stay on stage and finish up your time?
You got to decide. You can get off, but you work it out with the producer. Like, you're getting paid for a certain amount of time. So it can look bad if you just kind of abandon it, especially if you're closing the show out. That's not a good look.
To me, or being on stage, period, it seemed like it could be very nerve-wracking, like very make you anxious. Right before you go on, how are you feeling? Do you do anything specific before you go on stage?
I don't really get anxious on stage, honestly, or even really that nervous. It's just I feel like I've done really bad, I've done really good. Once you've already gotten like the extremes of both sides, I've gone up there and been booed. I've gone up there and had zero noise whatsoever, and I've gone up there and had a standing ovation before. Once you've gotten the extreme of both, anything in the middle, I think, is not that big a deal. So, yeah, you kind of just turn it off and turn on a different switch when you go up, and yeah.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. To me, it takes a lot to be a comedian. I don't know why, but I guess like that could be for anything though, not just being a comedian, but you have to engage that audience, and then to stay up there if they're not just feeling it, it's kind of like, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
Well, I think people that go to a show, they want to laugh, and you typically like somebody who makes you laugh. I mean, you don't know enough about them to dislike them. So I'm not famous, so it's not as if anybody is going to a show with a predisposed hate of me already. So you have to work to lose the crowd. You have to work harder to do bad than you do to do good. Yeah.
And then it seemed like I'm just going with these questions because I know.
Oh yeah, that's all good.
So they're just coming off the dome. Oh, he said, "Do you change your jokes for the audience?"
Yes, sometimes you have to. You have to. The biggest thing whenever I haven't been doing it for a long time, like I said, 6-7 years, but whenever newer comics ask questions or for notes, you have to be able to read a room. If you can't know when to change a joke kind of on the fly, and some people will just stick through it, and sometimes you have to do that, but certain jokes just, like, I'm not going to make a pro-life, pro-choice jokes in Texas. I'm not going to do that, even if that's typically a part of my set. Or out here in Colorado, I did a show in Brighton a few months ago, and they're very conservative. I didn't know that till I got there. So there were jokes that I know not to do here. There's jokes that I might modify, on the fly, just to keep the crowd from turning on you.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, you walk in the room and it's like, oh goodness, I can't do some of the jokes I had prepared. So you just, like you said, you modify.
Yeah, you have to, or it can go really bad.
Where do you get some of your content from? Like, how do you come up with your jokes? Do you use life scenarios or?
Kind of everywhere. I'm very much pop culture-y, watch TV, movies. I kind of, I if I'm not performing, I'm at home more often than not. So I've got the time to grab inspiration from anything. The majority of the stuff I want it to be relatable. So I want it to be stuff that I know I won't have to explain too much, which is hard living in Colorado where it is very white. And so there's certain jokes that just aren't going to fly or they're not going to get. So I typically just shy away from those, but you just see what other people are doing and kind of just give your take on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I at one event, I happened to speak to a comedian. He said he kind of put it on himself, like he make jokes about himself. Do you find yourself doing that? Is that a way that a lot of comedians do, or that just?
I think some people do. I think I don't necessarily talk about myself too much because I think when you go on stage, you're already vulnerable. So to kind of dig into yourself works perfectly fine for some people, but it's like I've already shared enough of myself at this point where it's kind of like how vulnerable do I need to be? So, if I do something stupid or if I'm telling a story and I kind of realize, yeah, that was a stupid thing to do, I'll bring attention to it. But no, it's not really like a, dunk on me contest, really.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was curious. I was like, I don't know if I want to go on stage and kind of like dog myself out to get jokes.
Yeah, because you don't want to tote that line. Are they laughing at you or are they laughing at what you're saying? Like, you don't want to be the village idiot up there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, is there anything that you would want to put out there that we did not discuss?
Honestly, I'm so insanely bad at social media. So I mean, I would share those. I think and I want to say it's like a generational thing, but there's people older than me that are so much better at social media than me. So that's not it either. I think I try to avoid social media to a degree, which is not good when you're trying to promote yourself. But I definitely always post my shows on Instagram or Facebook when I have a show coming up. I talk about my shows a little bit on my Twitch channel, which I just kind of started doing very recently. So, I'm never hard to find. If somebody sees a show and they like the stuff, I'm not really hard to find.
Okay, and then also something I do ask the guests that come on, if there are little Jeremiahs out there that want to be a comedian, scared to do so or don't know if their jokes are funny, what advice or what motivational words would you give the little Jeremiahs out there that want to follow in your footsteps?
Try it, record it, and kind of assess yourself. Don't let other people's opinions kind of sway you, but be open to criticism. If it's something you want to do, you have to let people let you know that, yeah, no, you suck right now. You're not good right now. And the biggest thing, and this is counterintuitive, I think sometimes people say, but if it's just a hobby and you don't think you're that funny, just do something else. It's not, it can get stressful and it can take up a lot of your time if you're not planning on doing anything with it. I know some people like the free therapy, but it's not really that, because when you take up that time, there's somebody else who's trying to make it in this and you're taking time from them.
Right.
So it's just, if you're going to do it, take it seriously, even though you are just telling jokes, but it's a business. You're promoting yourself. You're trying to do something else. But yeah, I would say write, get up there and perform. Just, stay busy, stay active.
Listen, I thought I didn't have any more questions, but I got one more based upon what you just said. You said for them to, record themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go back and watch it, am I supposed to laugh at what I did? You get what I'm saying? Like, is my joke supposed to be funny to me? Or what you said? I
didn't realize till very recently, until other comics told me, the way I watch myself is so much different than the way others do. It's I know what I said, so I'm not even really paying attention to what I'm saying. I'm paying attention to the way I'm walking around on stage, the way I'm standing, if I made a face, if my voice changed, if little things, because you're doing the same set a lot the same way. And you want to see, oh, this one time I did it last week was better than this time. What was the difference? You're just looking for the little intricacies in between your performances. And then, maybe I didn't like the way I said something, or maybe I could have said something this way. It's after you watch yourself recorded, you have hindsight on your side. Everybody, even if you don't do comedy, you can watch somebody special and think of something that would have been better after the fact. So just to kind of keep checking yourself is all.
That's true, because I will go back in the beginning when I start doing this. I will go back and watch myself, and I notice I always move at the beginning. Every time it's like, Freema, what are you doing? Like, are you getting comfortable? So I try to, notice, like, chill out, Freema, with the movement in the beginning. I don't know why I used to do that. So it is good to go back and watch yourself. You have one more question. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
So how often do you change your what would you call it? Your
my set.
Yeah, your set.
I change it around pretty often, actually. A lot of the time, it might even be the same jokes, but maybe I'll find that something is funnier if I say it at the beginning, or something's funnier at the end. I think it's a lot of the gist is the same. Like, you're hearing some of the same jokes, depending on how often you're coming out to see, but I try to do something different more often than not, because I don't go up there with a set game plan. It's just, I know I'm going to talk about these things. I'm going to talk about them when they most naturally fit to me at the moment. Okay. But it probably you try and change jokes. I try and change jokes pretty often, and it's not like throw out your whole playbook. I might add a new joke or take a joke out depending on how much time I'm doing, and just you keep what works and you get rid of what doesn't.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I think I change my stuff up pretty often, I think.
All right. Well, Jeremiah, I thank you on this Sunday evening. It seemed like out of all the interviews I did, I probably had a million questions for you tonight. Normally, I don't, but I just was so intrigued, to be able to pick your brain a little bit, because like I said, I spoke with one before, but not so much as an interview. So I appreciate
No, that thing.
Me and telling us everything that I wanted to know. My little notes. So Jeremiah.
No, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on, and thanks for taking that time out, because I know you could be writing jokes or doing something else. But
no, I got a show tonight, so that's I was ready.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Well, thank you guys for viewing. Jeremiah, stay in touch. We'd love to have you on as your success progress, in the future. So I see it coming. And as we always say on Let's Sip and Talk with Freema, peace and love.